Chosen one. Stop right now. Don't scroll. Don't multitask. Don't tell yourself you will come back later, because later is exactly how people miss the moment that never returns. What I am about to say is not casual, and it is not random that you are hearing it now. This is urgent. This is a warning, and if you walk away from this, you may never realize what you just stepped past. Something far bigger than coincidence is reaching for your attention, and this could be the last time it does so. This clearly right now, your life is at a turning point. Things are shifting beneath the surface, even if you cannot fully see it yet. Doors are opening, but others are quietly preparing to close. Signals are being sent to interrupt your current direction, to stop you before a wrong step becomes permanent. The thoughts you have been entertaining, the delays you have justified, the plans you have been waiting to feel ready for. Some of it is not what you think. And if nothing changes, the cost will be higher than you expect. This is not motivation. This is not comfort. This is a direct warning. The future you have been asking for is closer than you realize, but so is the risk of losing it. There is a narrow window here, and hesitation is not neutral. Pause now, because one small decision in this moment determines whether what is coming works for you or against you. Before this goes any further, mark this moment. Stay present. Stay alert. What happens next will only make sense to those who didn't walk away when it mattered most. Chosen one. Hear this clearly. Every moment you hesitate, every time you look away, you risk letting go of a door that has been opened for you alone. This is not pressure. This is recognition. If your spirit is awake, you already feel it. Some will stay with this message until the end and watch what once seemed impossible begin to align. Others will turn away and never understand what slipped past them. Pay attention now. Something is being revealed, not to overwhelm you, but to correct your course while there is still time. There are moments when God does not gently nudge, but interrupts. This is one of them, and Scripture makes this clear. The book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 1 says, "I have called you by name. You are mine, not by accident, not by chance. By divine selection, you are being summoned before you fully grasp." Why? Like Samuel hearing his name in the night before he understood who was calling. This is not subtle. It is a wake-up call meant to pull you out of sleep. Until now, the signs may have felt fragmented, easy to doubt or dismiss. Not anymore. The message is clear. Where you are headed is close, but not fully aligned. Promises that look appealing may be hollow. Paths that feel familiar may be delaying you. Each delay strengthens the noise around you, the distractions that dull your awareness and keep you circling instead of rising. This urgency exists because God sees beyond what you can. He sees what is forming, what is approaching, and what is trying to pull you off course. People, situations, even your own thoughts may compete for your focus. But this moment is rare, like Peter being called out of the boat while the storm still raged. The waves were high. The wind was fierce. Every rational thought said stay where it is safe, but Peter heard the voice above the chaos, and he stepped, not because conditions were perfect, but because the call was clear. This is an invitation to step forward before conditions feel safe. What you do next determines whether this becomes rescue or regret. If you fail to take hold of this moment, confusion will only deepen. This is why the reach is happening now, while there is still room to turn. Nothing about this is accidental. Divine warnings arrive with exact timing, not when it is convenient, but when it is necessary. The instant you recognize this call, something sharpens inside you. A clarity most people never touch begins to form. This marks the opening of a new chapter, one where guidance does not flicker, but illuminates each step ahead. Yet it only unfolds for a heart that is fully open. You were shaped for this point through pressure, delay, and quiet endurance. What you thought were detours were preparation. And here is what the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11, reminds us, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." Every struggle you survived was building toward this moment. The original design, the first calling placed within you, is ready to surface. And this goes deeper than mental readiness. This is alignment at every level, spirit, will, and movement coming into agreement. Your path has been watched closely, your resilience counted, your growth measured. The groundwork is almost complete. When what has been forming finally activates, it will not whisper. It will move through your life with force, asking for courage, awareness, and a steady resolve to stand where you were always meant to stand. This is not a small decision. If you keep moving without discernment, you could drift toward destruction without even realizing it. So stop. Pause. Take a holy moment right here and become fully present. Your spirit is the same. It must come into full resonance with what is moving toward you. Only then does resistance soften, direction clarify, and purpose ring true. Think of Gideon. He was hiding in a winepress, threshing wheat in secret, afraid of his enemies. Everything in his life said he was the least likely, the youngest in his family, from the weakest clan. No credentials, no army, no confidence. And that is when the angel appeared. "Mighty warrior," the angel said. But Gideon didn't feel mighty. He felt weak, unsure, unqualified. He looked around, thinking the angel must be talking to someone else. Yet God saw what Gideon could not see. The strength that was already there, waiting to be activated. The leader hidden beneath layers of fear and doubt. God didn't wait for Gideon to feel ready. He called him anyway. And here is what matters. Gideon didn't have to become something new. He had to become who he already was underneath. The calling didn't create the warrior, it revealed him. This is your moment to be revealed, not manufactured, not forced, but uncovered. What has been hidden beneath your hesitation is about to surface, and when it does, you will recognize it. Not as something foreign, but as something that has always been yours. Gideon was being called higher before he felt ready. And so are you. The discomfort you feel is not a sign you are unqualified. It is a sign you are being stretched into capacity you didn't know you had. Becoming aware of misalignment is not delay. It is the first act of alignment. When you acknowledge the parts of you that are still half asleep, space is created. Space for correction, space for power, space for the person you were always meant to become. Something rare is forming. What is preparing to flow into your life requires a vessel that is awake, aligned, and willing to rise into what it was chosen to carry. This is not symbolic. It is a real surge of sacred light moving toward you now. It is meant to ignite what has been dormant and awaken what has been waiting. It is reaching you because you are able to carry it. But nothing is forced. This moment asks for consent. Receiving it requires openness, trust, and the courage to release the doubts you have been rehearsing in silence. Before we go any further, I need you to do something that may look simple but carries spiritual weight, an act of agreement in the spirit. First, like this video. Let that click be more than a gesture. Let it be a declaration. I refuse every scheme of the enemy. I stand with what God is speaking over my life. Second, subscribe and stay connected, not just to a channel, but to a flow of messages meant to keep your spirit awake, focused, and alert. As we are moving toward 20,000 subscribers, your connection helps ensure this message continues reaching those who are meant to hear it. Third, take a moment to write 999 or 777 in the comments and share your city and where you are located. Let this be a prophetic sign between you and God. I am not the one who is lost. I am the one you are calling back into alignment. I am awake. I will not be led astray. And to those who feel led and able to support this ministry through your prayers, your words, or through the Super Thanks feature, know this: you are not just giving. You are standing with us as a co-laborer in this assignment. Your seed is not random, it is alignment. It is your way of saying, Lord, I trust your leading. I align myself with your protection. Amen. Now, let's continue. Picture a seed that has rested in the ground for a long time. It carries everything it needs, yet it waits for the right conditions to break open. That seed is your plan A. Every struggle you survived, every quiet act of faith, every moment you didn't quit, has been shaping this instant. What is forming now is not ordinary clarity, but a widening awareness that prepares you for increase you have never handled before. But growth cannot be rushed. You don't command a seed to bloom, you align with what it needs. This moment asks for trust, not control. What is activating is more than achievement. It is a transformation of who you are becoming. This is the threshold where familiar patterns dissolve and true purpose begins to take shape. Forces beyond what you can see are converging, opening paths, exposing truth, and clearing what no longer belongs. Your readiness matters, but your alertness matters more. Every decision now either carries momentum forward or quietly delays what is trying to emerge. You are close, closer than you think. Yet something subtle still pulls at your alignment. A small imbalance, barely noticeable, but capable of interrupting the flow if left untouched. Your mind may feel prepared, your plans may look solid, but destiny is not powered by structure alone. Spirit is the engine until it fully ignites. The road ahead can feel uneven, confusing, or filled with resistance that seems to come from nowhere. What is required now is not more effort, but deeper alignment, because what is about to grow will demand all of you. This gap is not a verdict against you, it is an opening. Nothing here speaks of punishment, it speaks of guidance. What is being revealed now is the exact place where your foundation is meant to be strengthened, not torn down. Recognition itself is mercy. Seeing it means you are already closer than you think. And the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28, confirms this truth. We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. All things, even the pain, even the delays. Think of an instrument being tuned before a great performance. Even the finest strings cannot release their true sound if they are slightly off. Your spirit is the same. Listen closely now. The pain you survived, the collapse that nearly broke you, the seasons where everything seemed to fall apart were never signs of weakness. They were evidence, proof that something powerful was being forged inside you. Ordinary lives are not pressed this hard. Shallow callings are not tested this deeply. Think about it. The pressure you have endured, the betrayals that blindsided you, the doors that slammed shut when you were certain they would open, the nights you couldn't sleep because the weight was too heavy, the mornings you had to force yourself to stand when everything in you wanted to stay down. That wasn't random suffering, that was preparation. Iron doesn't become a sword by resting in comfort. It is thrust into fire, hammered, beaten, shaped through intense heat and repeated striking, and what emerges is not weaker, it is sharper, stronger, unbreakable. What you endured was not meant to comfort you, it was meant to wake you up, to burn away everything that was never meant to survive, the false beliefs. The people who only stayed for the easy seasons. The version of yourself that couldn't carry what is coming. What is moving through you now is not just spiritual growth, it is transformation. The limits you once accepted are dissolving, and reality itself feels closer, more responsive. almost aware of your presence. Your perception sharpens. You notice things you used to miss. Patterns emerge where you once saw chaos. Opportunities reveal themselves in places you used to overlook. Dangers show their outlines before they strike, giving you time to move. This is expansion, and it demands awareness equal to its power. You are not the same person who entered this season, and you cannot go back to who you were, even if you tried. The door behind you has closed. The spark inside you will not stay quiet. It insists, it presses, it demands alignment. You cannot ignore it without slowing your own becoming. To resist is to delay what you were marked for. To accept it is to step into a level of purpose that rearranges everything. The intensity may feel overwhelming. Thoughts move faster. Emotions rise stronger. Energy shifts without warning. You might feel like you are coming undone, but you are not falling apart. You are breaking open. This is not chaos. This is capacity being tested. You are learning to remain grounded while your spirit expands. Focus turns raw force into clarity. Presence turns pressure into momentum. This surge is not punishment. It is confirmation. Fear loosens its grip. Doubt begins to fall away. Something inside you knows this is real. Your awareness rises with every conscious breath. Your connection deepens. You are stepping into a realm where your potential refuses to be contained by old limits. And now the signs begin. Subtle warnings, quiet nudges, moments that ask you to pause, reconsider, or walk away. Pay close attention here because this is where most people stumble. Traps do not announce themselves. They don't come wrapped in warning labels. They appear as doubt, as opportunity, as voices that sound sweet but carry hidden weight. Your perception is sharpening for a reason. You will notice what others miss. A flicker in someone's eyes when they promise support, but their energy says otherwise. A pause that doesn't belong right before someone speaks. A situation that feels wrong without explanation. Your gut tightens. Your spirit whispers. Not this. Do not dismiss this. This is not imagination. This is protection. God is speaking directly to your awareness, not in loud declarations, in quiet knowing, in peace that holds steady or suddenly lifts, in doors that will not open no matter how hard you push. Here is what to watch for. Opportunities that demand you move faster than your spirit feels ready. Relationships that require you to dim your light to keep them comfortable. Advice that sounds logical but makes your soul feel heavy. Distractions disguised as urgent priorities. People who suddenly reappear after long silence. Just when you are about to level up. Voices that remind you of past failures, exactly when you are building new momentum. These are not accidents. These are tests. This is not only about avoiding danger, it is about reclaiming power. When manipulation is seen, it loses control. When distraction is recognized, it dissolves. You move confidently where you once hesitated. You speak clearly where you once stayed silent. Each trap avoided strengthens you. Each moment of vigilance builds something solid within you. You are developing spiritual muscle, the kind that doesn't flinch when pressure rises, the kind that stays calm when chaos erupts around you. What you prepared for is no longer theoretical. It is moving. The blueprint of your highest purpose is activating. And when I say activating, I mean things are beginning to happen in the physical realm that match what has been stirring in your spirit. Events begin to align, not by your effort, by divine orchestration. Encounters feel timed. You meet the right person at the exact moment you need them. Information arrives precisely when you are ready to receive it. Doors open together. Not one door, multiple doors all at once. As if the universe itself is clearing a path, resources appear, connections form, ideas crystallize. What seemed impossible last month suddenly feels inevitable. The path ahead confirms itself not through ease but through precision. Everything clicks, not because it is simple, but because it is right. You feel it in your bones. This is what you were made for. Timing tightens. Every step matters more than before. There is less room for wandering, less tolerance for distraction. The path narrows, but it brightens. Clarity replaces confusion. Certainty replaces doubt. Your path does not only change you, it reshapes the energy around you as you rise. Others are affected. Some will be inspired. They will feel permission to step into their own calling because they watched you step into yours. Others will resist. They will feel threatened by your growth because it exposes their stagnation. They will try to pull you back down, not out of hate, but out of fear. Fear that your rising means their settling was a choice they didn't have to make. Your clarity creates ripples you cannot yet measure. Your alignment becomes a frequency. Others can sense, even if they cannot name it. This is why alignment is non-negotiable now. Misalignment doesn't just affect you. It affects everyone connected to your assignment. Misalignment weakens impact. Alignment multiplies force. Release resistance, old fear, old beliefs, old wounds that no longer belong to who you are becoming. Let every breath become a channel. Let every intention draw power. When alignment deepens, decisions simplify. Obstacles shrink. Truth becomes obvious. You are being shielded, not passively, but actively. Not automatically, but intentionally. Awareness is your armor. Focus strengthens it. Fear weakens it. Faith sharpens it. Here is how the shield works. When your awareness is high and your spirit is aligned, you become untouchable to schemes that would have destroyed you before. Lies bounce off. Manipulation fails to land. Distractions lose their pull. But when fear creeps in, when doubt takes root, when you let your focus wander, the shield weakens. Not because God withdrew it, because you stepped out of alignment. The protection is always there. You have to stay positioned to receive it. You will notice negativity losing its grip. Conversations that used to drain you for days now roll off in minutes. People who used to control your emotions with a single comment suddenly have no power. Their words land, but they don't penetrate. Confusion giving way to clarity. Decisions that used to paralyze you now resolve quickly. You know what is yours and what is not. You know when to speak and when to stay silent. You know when to push forward and when to wait. Pressure transforming into strength. What used to break you now builds you. Challenges that would have sent you into a spiral now sharpen your resolve. You welcome the heat because you know what it produces. Endurance, character, proven faith. These shields exist because you are ascending. And ascension always draws opposition. Not because you are doing something wrong, because you are doing something that threatens the systems built to keep people small, distracted, and powerless. But here is the truth they don't want you to know. The higher you rise, the more protected you become. Not despite the attacks, because of them. Every attack reveals an enemy. Every exposure strengthens your discernment. Every opposition clarifies your path. False narratives are being exposed. What once seemed normal now feels off. The job that felt safe now feels like a cage. The relationship that felt comfortable now feels draining. Advice that used to guide you now reveals its motive. Control, fear, limitation. Stories lose their grip. The story that you are not ready. The story that you are too damaged. The story that people like you don't get to live at that level. Those narratives are crumbling, and as they fall, space opens for the truth. You are no longer easily influenced. You are sovereign in your energy and your decisions. Sovereign means you rule your own territory, your mind, your time, your focus, your future. No one gets access without your permission. No voice gets authority unless you grant it. Time accelerates here, momentum builds. This is a launch window, and launch windows don't stay open indefinitely. There is a moment when the conditions align: pressure, readiness, opportunity, resources, support. All of it converging at once. Miss the window, and you don't just delay, you have to wait for the next cycle, and the next cycle might not come for months, years, maybe never. Not because God is punishing you, because the alignment required for that specific launch cannot be recreated on demand. Hesitation carries consequences now. Small distractions have outsized effects. 1 hour scrolling can cost you a day of momentum. One conversation with the wrong person can plant doubt that takes weeks to uproot. One decision made in fear can redirect your entire trajectory. But here is the flip side. Clarity and action unlock speed, force, and reach you have never known. When you move in alignment with this moment, things that should take years happen in months. Doors that should require connections open without introduction. Resources that should need pursuit appear without asking. This is not luck. This is divine acceleration, and it only happens when you are fully present, fully aligned, and fully committed to what is unfolding. Half-hearted effort gets half-hearted results, but total surrender to this moment. That unlocks the fullness of what has been prepared for you. You were not broken. You were prepared. You were not delayed. You were aligned. You are being guided, not gently, but deliberately. Marked not for comfort, but for impact. What you feel now is not the end of the journey. It is the sound of something opening, and once it does, nothing will ever be the same. Father, I come before you right now with my spirit awake and my heart uncovered. I refuse confusion, delay, and every quiet trap that tries to pull me off the path you marked for me. I refuse fear disguised as wisdom. I refuse comfort disguised as peace. I refuse every voice, external or internal, that tells me to wait when you are saying move. I refuse every delay that is not from you. If I have drifted, realign me. If I have ignored the signs, sharpen my discernment. If I have numbed myself to avoid the pain of growth, wake me up. Let your voice rise louder than my fear, louder than distractions, louder than the noise that tries to blur what you are revealing. I surrender my need to control what you are trying to ignite. I surrender my timeline, my plans, my version of how this should look. I release doubt, resentment, and hidden resistance. I release the need to understand before I obey. I ask for holy clarity, not just knowledge, but discernment. Holy courage, not recklessness, but boldness rooted in your presence. Holy focus, not obsession, but singular devotion to what you are calling me toward. Guard my steps, seal my mind, protect what is awakening in me. Let no false door look like destiny. Let no familiar voice lead me into misalignment. Let no counterfeit carry enough resemblance to confuse me. I say yes to your correction, yes to your timing, yes to the next instruction, even if it stretches me, even if it costs me comfort, even if it requires me to walk alone for a season. And I hold to what the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verses 5 and 6 declares. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. I am not lost. I am being called back into alignment. I am ready. In Jesus' name, amen. What unfolds next is not ordinary life. It is the result of a chosen one finally saying yes. The journey is only beginning, but it begins here, with full alignment and unwavering trust in what already lives within you. When that inner spark ignites completely, you will feel it before you see it. A surge through your heart and mind, a knowing that cannot be silenced, a fire that refuses containment. This is the now you were waiting for, and remember what the book of Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 4 tells us. He chose us in him before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in his sight. Before the foundation of the earth, you were marked, you were seen, you were chosen. Before the first star ignited, before the first ocean formed, before time itself began, your name was written. Your purpose was sealed. This is not about earning it. This is about remembering it. What you feel stirring inside you right now is not new. It has always been there, buried under fear, under doubt, under the weight of what others said you could never become. But it is rising now, like a seed breaking through concrete, like a lion waking from sleep. And nothing can stop what God has already set in motion. Not your past, not your mistakes, not the people who walked away, not the doors that closed. Nothing. You were not broken. You were prepared. Every fracture was intentional. Every breaking point had purpose. What looked like devastation was actually renovation. You were not delayed. You were aligned. The waiting wasn't wasted. It was working, shaping your character, refining your discernment, teaching you to hear God's voice above every other noise. The pain shaped you. The pressure refined you. The silence taught you to hear what others miss. And now, you stand at the edge of everything you were created for. Not at the end, at the beginning. Where calling meets capacity, where preparation meets opportunity, where your yes meets God's already done. This moment is not an ending. It is an awakening. The alarm is sounding. The light is breaking through. The door is wide open. Step forward. Walk in the authority that has always been yours. Speak with the voice that has been waiting to be heard. Not the voice you use to fit in. The voice that rises from your core. The one that speaks truth, even when it is uncomfortable. The one that declares what is. You are not who they said you were. You are who God says you are, and He has called you by name. He knows you fully, every hidden part, every broken piece, and He still chose you, chosen one. This is your moment, the moment every other moment has been preparing you for. Don't let it pass. Don't wait for more confirmation. This is the sign right here, right now. The door is open. The path is clear. The grace is present. All that is required is your yes, not your perfection. Just your yes, your willingness. Your surrender to what is already in motion. What if everything you have been through was not to break you, but to build you? What if every closed door was protecting you from a lesser path? What if the delay you keep calling logic is actually the last trap meant to stop you right before the door opens? Stop waiting. Start walking. The chosen life is not coming. It is here, and it is calling your name. Amen.